Hey everybody, we are back this week with Jason Coleman, and we're going to talk about the sponsored group members add-on. It is a plus add-on, but we're just going to, I don't know if we want to wait for people to come in. Say hi if you're in the chat. If you submitted a question, let us know that you're here.
I'm just retweeting. I didn't really. My peoples come watch me on the open office hours.
There's some people in the chat now.
We're getting some chats. Thank you. Ooh, nice. Hey, John.
Oh, we even have a lot of team members in the watching today. Cool. This must be a topic that everybody has questions on, including the team.
Yeah. So this is the sponsored members or group members add-on. It's super powerful. It's an awesome use case. We built this early, and I think like way earlier than other membership plugins had the solution. But it is, you can see here, the ease of use is 1 out of 4, and 1 is bad. 4 is good. It means there's a couple values that we have as a software business. One is that we think it's good for folks who are running membership sites and paid memberships pro. It's better if they can use code and get it exactly how they want it, rather than having like a plugin that has a whole bunch of options. And so that's like a value we have, is kind of, we don't want to, create just a plugin that's kind of a mess in the back end. And then another value we have is that as soon as we build something useful, we put it out there. So we have like these customizations, we have these really rough plugins that only developers can use, and we don't sit on them and wait until we build a product. We put them out there so people can use them. And then we gather feedback and we figure out what the most common use cases are. And then eventually what we're due to do for this plugin is to take all that feedback and then build it into like a more streamlined product that end users can use. So this is like one of the more, complicated plugins. And I think it's, we definitely could do more to make it ease of use, but it's like a lot of this stuff this is just like a complicated thing. Like what we found is that a lot of people who need this kind of setup, where you have a parent account that's paying and child accounts that have access, there's lots of weird niche specific requirements that every site has, and it's easier and more straightforward to have a developer kind of implement that stuff exactly how you want it, rather than waiting for us to build a plugin that's not really going to work. Or like a more full-featured plugin. So this actually has become over the years like a collection of like a bunch of little features and hacks, depending on like which of these you want for the site. And there's like but also like, it's weird. This is hard because it's real scary. So maybe I scared people and they're like, never mind, click, I'm gone. I was like,
don't leave.
Yeah. It's like, it's serious. It's hard. It's hard to figure out like what you actually want with this kind of setup. Umbrella accounts is what some folks call this. But on the other hand, like if you have some developer skills, or you can hire someone for a day, or or you just kind of, you're pretty tenacious and you're okay with just like the basic requirements, it's not too hard to get set up. Like the devil's in the details. So hopefully when I demonstrate it, this will help some folks who are trying to go through it on their own, or just figure out if this is going to work for them.
And if you have questions as Jason goes along, throw them out, and I'll do my best to interrupt him.
Yeah. My headphones. I still don't have headphones that don't turn off in the middle. Oh, you actually do is, I'll actually do that. Hold on. What if I this is my idea, was to play like pink noise.
Oh, there you go.
Like really quietly, and it would just,
headphones.
Yeah.
I shall not be ignored.
Yeah. We'll see if this works. I don't even hear it, but hopefully it's keeping my headphones on. Okay.
I will go ahead and share your screen and let you take it away.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Sam. Awesome. So yeah, definitely post specific questions or general questions, even if it's not about sponsored members. Like we might have time at the end to chat about other things, or the team can give you links to resources. And we did have some questions come in, so hopefully the folks who were curious are on this call. There was a John who called in, so maybe that's you, John. and Anne and Sensible Senko. So I have answers to those questions. So definitely like wave and say, that's me. And I'll make sure that I get to your question. And John, who wrote in, said basically, hey, like give a walkthrough end-to-end configuration and set some things up with like a couple different levels, sponsoring a couple other levels. So that's exactly what we were going to do anyway. And that's what I'll go through now. So yeah, here we have the sponsored members plugin. This is a plus add-on. So you need plus or higher to download it through our site. As always, like our plugins are available on github.com if you want to find our repository and download the official version from there for free. But we made this a plus add-on because one, it's added functionality that only some sites need. And then two, it's like the ease of use is pretty low. So we want to make sure when something's, you know, potentially hard to set up that if you have a membership with us, then you can get support from us to help out. And so John is saying he wants to do a couple of seats upon membership and then also charge additional seats beyond that. So that's something I'll show too. Okay, so I'm on a demo site here. Let me see. Must love dogs. This is our demo site. If you search for demo site, I think on Paid Memberships Pro, you can download like the different backups of this site. And actually, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a couple plans just so that this makes a little bit more sense when I go through the demo. So I'm going to go into the settings, and there's some levels here, but I want like the names of the levels to make sense. So I'm going to add, let's just assume that they're like annual recurring levels. Okay, and we'll call this like, for purposes of the demonstration, the parent. And then like, yeah, we'll say like this, you know, membership also includes, you know, I don't know, 2 seats for the child membership. And actually, you know, it's funny. It's like, I think in the code and some of our documentation, we interchangeably say like parent membership and child membership. I think that parent-child relationship is like a little bit of a clearer analogy. Those words are easy to understand. We also call it like the sponsoring membership and the sponsored membership, but like sponsoring and sponsored are kind of too similar of words. And if I, you know, it's hard to say and stuff. So I think I'm going to be saying parent and child membership. A lot of the documentation in the code and the variables and stuff might say sponsoring or sponsored, or they, you know, slip into parent and child. We kind of go back and forth. Okay, so I'm leave the confirmation message for now, and just this is $100 a month parent plan, and I'll just save that level, and then I'll make the child membership. So let me see here. One thing we do, we'll make the child membership free for now. And this is where it gets like, I'm pausing because it's kind of, this is one of the first questions that will come up if you're using the sponsored member site, is kind of, are the child memberships different from the other memberships, or are they similar or the same, right? So maybe I need to, you know, come up with a more specific scenario that we stick to so that it makes sense while we go through the demo. But if this is literally a parent and a child, which actually will flow into another demo I want to do. So like a parent is signing up on a website, it's their billing, and maybe the website, like it's a dog training for your kids. You know, so it's literally your children will have an account. I think in that case, you know, maybe on this site, like the child content is actually different. Like the courses and the content is specific to children. And so I want to funnel the child members into that site. Like I don't want to email if they're literally children, I don't want to send them emails. So I don't like, so I think in this case, if I was building a site where there's literally parents of children on a site, you probably want to create a new membership level that's child, and then you treat those children separately. And sometimes that's like a general question that comes up is like, should I create a new membership level, or should I use like, you know, like options on checkout or fields or taxonomies to sort people? It's kind of like the more often that you want to like treat that member differently, like the easier it is if you create a different membership level. And hopefully that's making sense, because another option I could have had, I'm going to make that child account. It's a free account for now, but we're going to lock this up. So you need to be a sponsor to get it. All right. Hey, let's train our puppy, right? And then billing details, I'll leave blank. It's free. So now I have this child account that's free, and it's live on my website, but we'll lock it up in a second. Like another option is the parent account could sponsor the beginner account as well. And it's like, that's an existing membership that I already have set up. So I want to create like a new parent relationship that gives access to the beginner, or like a corporate account that allows people to buy access to a membership you already have. And maybe we'll just do that. We'll kind of like, I don't know. Yeah, let's do like annual corporate account, right? It's like $1,000 a year. You're a big business. You can afford it. We'll save that. We'll use that for one of our demos too. And maybe we'll set up the parent membership. We'll give you extra accounts so children can sign up. And then the corporate membership will give you extra accounts so beginner can sign up. And I can show you kind of how that works. Something else that we'll demo that was written in by Sensible Senko is like an alternative to sponsored members for like student, teacher-student relationships when you want to share the student account. So we'll get into that. But for now, we're going to set up the parent account to sponsor the child account. And actually, so what I haven't done yet that I need to do is I need to like install that sponsored members add-on. You can, if you have PN Pro installed with an Active Plus license, you can go to add-ons here and find it here, install it through the dashboard, or you can go to the Pay Memberships Pro website, find the add-on, and download from there. So I'm going to activate through the add-ons page because I have my license key active. Awesome. And then once that's activated, it doesn't really do anything. It doesn't have settings of its own. What it basically does is install that code, that library of code for when you want to do sponsored members type things. So I'm going to file my own instructions here because it'll help me also test if our documentation is pretty good, right? So I've installed it, I've activated the plugin. And so now I need to build this array, and I need to use code for this. And here's some descriptions of the different parameters, but probably other people will do this too. We'll get back to this. Scroll down and like copy the sample, like start with the sample and then tweak it to your needs. So, I mean, that's how I often work. That's how I assume people are working. So we have a sample here that does like a simple use case. You can copy that code. I'm actually going to use the code snippets plugin to add my custom code. You also could create a custom plugin if you know how to do that, or we have documentation on our site on how to do that. But the code snippets plugin is a decent way to do it. I think you get a little bit less, the editor isn't as nice if you're using like GitHub Copilot to help you code, like using your own editor. And like an actual plugin. If you're getting really complicated with things, you probably want to, create a real plugin, but creating a snippet for this is definitely okay. And that's what I'm going to do for the demo too, to make sure this is how people do it. I'm going to do it how the people do it. Okay. So we're going to say the parent account, sponsors the child account membership, membership. And I'll paste in the sample here. And then let me reread what John said. A couple seats upon membership, and then also charge for additional seats. Okay, cool. So seats is another term. So it's kind of like the seats is how many of the child accounts, how many of the sponsored accounts you want to give someone when they check out. And John said a couple, so I think he means literally 2. And then there's a way to we'll get into it then, but you can charge for extra seats. So I'll just set it up so you get 2 seats. So I'm editing the the sample code that was given to me. And it's not a PHP lesson, but if people have questions, let me know. But I'll kind of basically go through what's happening here. we define a global variable. So this is a variable, PM Pro SM sponsored account levels. This is the variable that the plugin will look for to figure out if it needs to kind of like set up any of these child-parent relationships. And global means it's accessible to like any code running. This is kind of a way for you to pass the code from the snippet into our plugin, So then you define an array, like an array of elements. And this is kind of the format. So the ID over here, this one needs to be the level ID of the parent account. It's called main level ID here too. Okay, so it's kind of like the parent account. So I'm going to go, hold on, back to my dashboard settings. And I'm going to drag these tabs. And I'm going to look over here on the levels table. It shows the ID of the level. And it may not be in order, right? So you can drag these around. It's a little different. But my parent account ID is 6, right? So I'm going to say 6. So you need level 6. These are the settings. This is redundant, but useful. Again, you also need a 6 here. So it's, the main level ID is 6. And then the sponsored level ID, this is an array. It can be a single number or an array of IDs. These are basically, and actually what literally happens when we'll see this in a second, when the parent account checks out, they get a discount code and a link that they can share with other people. And then those other folks can use that link to sign up. And the discount code and the link works for only the chosen levels. So these are the levels that discount code is going to work for. So in our demo here, we want just like, this is the child account, right? So it's like, hey, child account 7. And so it could be a single ID like this, 7. Let me know if you can see that. I might zoom in a little bit. I guess that's the other benefit to me if I'm using an IDE code editor. I can zoom in without making my website really big. But yeah, sponsor 7, or it could be an array of one ID or multiple IDs. Like if I wanted the parent account to allow them to either sign up for a child account or a beginner account, you would say 7 and 1, right? So we can, 7 and 1, comma 1. These are the levels that discount code works on. I'm going to do it just for 7 for now. And then seats is the number of seats that they get when they check out. So I'm going to save this. You should choose run snippet anywhere. So that's like a good default. If your snippet is only front end or back end related, it's gonna you could select that with this code snippet plugin. If you just want to run the code and let the code figure it out, say run anywhere. In this case, like this changes checkout. That's front end, but it also changes the admin in ways too. So this code needs to be active in the admin. So make sure you run the snippet anywhere. And then I'm just going to save the changes and activate. And cross my fingers that I don't have any bugs in my code that that it catches. All right, cool. It's activated. Let's demo this and see how it's going. So I'm on the front end of the site. I'm logged in. That's okay. I think if I click compare plans, this pricing page is custom coded to only show some, I think. Let me see. Yeah, my demo is set up to only show these 3 levels. So that's one way you can kind of quasi hide levels. Let me add edit the page. I'm going to zoom out too, because you see this is using the advanced levels shortcode to only show levels 1, 3, and 2. So if I knew the level ID, I could kind of put it in the URL and sneak past, but this is just, which ones show up on the pricing page. So I'm going to change that because we're using this a lot. So I'm going to, I might actually just put this back to the default PM Pro _ levels. This is a short code that shows all the levels in the table. Boom. Okay, cool. So, all right, let's check out for the parent membership and kind of see what it says here. So you'll notice it's saying like, hey, this is the parent membership. Like it also includes 2 seats for the child membership. Look, this is actually something that comes up a lot. If you put the word membership in your level, then like sometimes when we auto generate language, it's like the parent membership. So I don't know if I care now, but I think I do. I'm gonna I'm gonna change that so that doesn't seem silly. So we're gonna call this like parent, just parent. That word membership gets added. There are like there's custom GIS if you want to like have more fine grained control over like how some of these like automatic pricing and level names show up. We have tutorials on our site on how to do that. And then I guess my demo is set up with just Stripe. So cool. Yeah, so I can only get 2 seats. I can change that. I can kind of show you some things, but let me show you what happens when we check out this way. In the fake credit card here. And check out, fingers crossed, don't have bugs on my site. And it pays, and then, oh, my API key expired. Okay. 1 second. Let me get a fresh API key. Or, you know what actually I'll do is I'll change it to just use the test gateway. Cute. Testing only. But you know what, this is actually causing like a bug. Let's take notes. Dude, there's always a whammy every open office hours.
How specifically would you like me to note this bug?
I'm already pasting it in our dev chat.
Oh, okay. I'll just pretend I don't exist anymore.
No, it's okay. I appreciate it. Let me see if I could like, I can't submit the form because it's busted. I could edit this like really weird through the database. Oh, if I click disconnect from Stripe, I probably will do it. Hopefully. Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, it's possible that's like, that's a bug that only shows up on like weird demo sites that developers use and they like, they beat up to do crazy things. But it's possible like that Stripe account didn't exist and it was being weird. But I'm actually gonna go test only for the demo purposes, just so it might give me like a little like warning message when I check out. But let me go back here, compare plans. 100 per year, and I think I'll have to like make up an address now. All right, yeah. So it's just a warning saying like, hey, I'm not actually using a real payment gateway, but that's okay. Now I can use like any old fake number, I believe, and annual fake expiration and security code and checkout. So I'm gonna go check out and I'll get access for 2 seats. Awesome. So you see what's added to the confirmation page automatically. So this is all kind of the default text. It's like, hey, like here's your details. I also send an email to you. It's like, here, give this code to your sponsored members to use. So this is the discount code that you're giving them to use, or provide this direct link. So here's a link that goes right to level 7 and gives them a, uses that discount code so that they can check out. And says this code has 2 uses. So what you would do then is the parent account person will, email someone that link. I opened an incognito window. And if I paste in this URL, I should be able to check out now as a child. So see, now I can go to this page and it's like, hey, the child account. It's funny. I meant to make this like a confirmation message, but it's okay. But it applies the code and now I can check out and I can, call this like, we'll call it like April child 1. And that stuff. Yeah, so I'll show you kind of how the seats are tracked. Cool. So now this person is in and they have the child account. You'll want to make sure like this is a new membership level. So make sure they have access to anything they're supposed to have access to, that they're in the directory or not. I see you're coming on.
Question. Yes.
Yeah.
We have a question. John is asking, does that only let them use it twice or have 2 childs active two join, then one person leaves and it's removed. Can another one sign up?
Yeah. So, it's funny. Like this demo is interesting too. So this is a slightly altered like version of our dashboard. It was given two columns, but when the parent account goes into their membership account, I might edit this and put it back to the default too. I think it's kind of like a little more clear. Those two columns are weird. So you'll see like actually this demo site was set up using these are the blocks and it's put in a block with two, and we're checking what's shown. But I mean, this is maybe unrelated, but maybe it's related because I guess if you're using different plugins to do things, you might run into the case where you're like, man, my account page is getting really big now. I keep putting stuff in there. And you want to get some more fine-tuned control over how that works. We don't want comms. We just want to shortcut. And you want to, kind of edit your account page. But let me go back. I wanted to set this back to a default, so it kind of makes a little bit more sense for folks. So by default, the account page shows you my memberships, information about your account. It inserts in this section, the sponsored members plugin does, about your seats. And it says, hey, give this code or use this link. And then you'll see it says one of two uses. And then you can see here's a list of the members. Like we recently had an update that shows the list. And if this child, like, I don't want them to have that account anymore, I can click remove. And it's going to ask me to confirm and then remove access for that account. And I'd have to look it up. I forget it. I don't think it deletes the account. I think it just like removes their membership. And then the seat becomes available. Also, if and this happens too, like, so if the child account buys their own level, like they check out again and pay for it themselves, they kind of get detached, and then your seat becomes available. If they cancel, the seat becomes available. So if this child ever loses the membership level, basically, the seat's going to become available for use. So it's flexible that way. You can add users directly here. They have to check out. One thing you can do, I mean, it depends on like the nature of your customers in the business. You can instruct them like, hey, create the accounts. When the parent checks out, they can go to the checkout page and create the child account and then just send the username and password to them. I will demo in a little bit. There are parameters so that when you check out for your seats, it has like, you can add like boxes to set the username, email, and password for each individual child account at the time of checkout. It's a little clunky, but it's useful, in certain situations. It gets less useful if you're selling like 20 accounts. You really want to just send a link. Or if like these are professionals, let them sign up for their account and manage it themselves. Just let them. But if it is like there's only 2 child accounts for like the summer museum pass, then you might want to use some of those options that I'll demo in a second. The next thing I'll demo is buying additional seats. So let me show that. I'll go back to the documentation for the sponsored members plugin. There's my seltzer water here. And then, so there's kind of like this section here around seat cost and billing. So by default, if we look at my snippet really quick, all I did was I said, hey, when they buy this level, they get 2 seats. And that's kind of like a hard limit. I should note though that admins can increase, I'm pretty sure, let me double check this. Admins can increase that like just manually. So depending on like how much your seats cost and how it works, like maybe if, it's like thousands of dollars, it's like, hey, write me a check and I'll add, you know what I mean? Like sometimes people are handling payment offline. I signed out for the parent account. So it's my own account. Okay. I was like, where's this parent? I just checked out. So I'm actually editing my own profile as an admin, but you could imagine I was editing someone else's profile as an admin. When you scroll down to the membership section, it'll under sponsored seats, it shows their code in case you want to keep track of it, look in your other documents. And then there's like a free text field. So I could say, oh, this guy's my brother, or he gave me $1,000 offline or whatever I did. He should have 5 seats instead of 2. If you edit that field and then save the page, when they look at their account from the front end, let me check that out. So if I go to my account page from the front end, it says 1 of 5 seats used now. So I have extra seats. So that's an option that's always possible, is to manually increment or decrement the seats, for people who are asking. But let's assume, I'm actually going to change that back now, that I didn't do that. We want to force people to pay for their seats themselves at checkout. I'll set that back to 2. And I'll look at the settings. So I'm doing this from memory a little bit. Actually, the demo has it down here. So seats based on a field at checkout. So the two fields you need at least are this one called seat cost and max seats. So if I go here and, in addition here, I put a comma because I have some more values. And if this also is like another case where it's kind of like, what do you really want to do? It gets a little confusing. I think you can put like a minimum number of seats as well, right? So say they get at least 2. I'm pretty sure there's a min seats value. No. But you no longer just get 2. You get 2 minimum or 10 maximum, and they cost $250 each. And I'll click Save Changes. Now, one thing I'll have to do is I'll have to change the price of my level, right? So if 2 seats cost 1,000, and this is like, there's a million different ways to kind of adjust this pricing. Are the seats just a flat cost and they're all new? Do you is it like an application fee and then, you charge for the seats on top of that? The first 2 seats are 1,000, but then like everyone after that is $250. Maybe to keep it consistent with, how we had it programmed before, we could say like the first 2 seats are $1,000 and every seat after that is $250. So if that's the case, what I really want, I'll have to, and if you're editing this, oh shoot, actually, hold on, I thought this was $1,000 a year plan. let me take a decimal place off this. So if the first 2 seats are $50, hold on, sorry. If the first 2 seats are $50 each, so $100, and then everyone after that is $25. The seat cost is $25 here, but I need to edit my level. Actually, let me show you at checkout. Maybe it'll make more sense. Go, here's my levels. Here it always says $100 per year. Let me see. This is my level. Let me cancel my account first and check. Or actually, I'll go back into incognito mode and check out again. Oh, the link on the admin page? That's a good idea. We can file that away. That's kind of easy enough. So let me click here. I need to get to the levels plan page. My computer is going slowly. Okay. This is kind of interesting that the level shows up as $100 per year, but it's actually, depending on the seats, right? So when I change the seats, I think it actually, oh, maybe that's a custom gist we have that like automatically updates the price. So we don't have that. So you see I'm getting slow and I'm getting confused because you have to do some thought around how you word on your level, like what the level costs and what, how it's priced. So I think what I really want to do is have this be $50 per year. And then it's $25 or no, what is it? It would be, yeah, if it was $50 per year and then $25 per seat. So it's like a $50 base, $25 per seat. Then I would kind of get the pricing that I said I want. So let me do that. This is level 6. Yes, it's $50 per year. And let me save that. And let me use another plugin that kind of help with this. Let's go to add-ons and let's get the level cost text add-on. This is useful in general and it's useful in this case. So I'm going to install this. The level cost text add-on adds an extra setting on the level page to let you have some control without using code over like how the level price shows up. Because you'll notice on the, and there's different ways around this, but on the, let me get back to the pricing page. I need to just put a link to this page here. You know, it says $50 per year here, but that's confusing. So there's a couple ways around it. One is you don't have to use our default pricing table. You can get rid of this and just put in, you know, your own HTML and copy with your own button and your own description of the price. But then again, like it says it kind of here too. So when I refresh, it's kind of, you selected pair membership level. It also includes 2 seats. I don't know if that's actually the case anymore. Oh, I think that level, sorry, yeah. See, I mean, it's like, this is a hard thing with WordPress in general. And when you are using Pay Memberships Pro and plugins, that this membership level also includes 2 seats. That was custom description that I put in here. So you can edit this description to be a little bit more verbose about like how the membership pricing works. This is like one area you can edit to put some stuff in. And then another area you can edit is I activated that level cost text plugin. It'll create settings under other settings. And so here I can put like a default level cost text, or I can change the text. So I can say, hey, do what you usually do. And then say like additional, or it's like, yeah. You know, seats must be purchased at $25 each. Or like an additional $25 per seat, or like plus here, yeah, we'll do level costs, blah blah blah, plus an additional $25 per year per seat, something like that. Let's save and see how that adds up. So I might continue, but I think you get the idea that like the pricing here, actually that comma and then plus doesn't really work. So maybe let me try to edit this easily. You could like, and actually maybe like the demo, like how the level cost text, like the default text is that full, like we try to create an English sentence out of your price. But you could kind of do it yourself, right? So you could say, let's see, like, you know, billing amount. Yeah. Or you can just hard code it, right? If you know what it is, right? Billing amount, but it's good to like make it like at least a little bit flexible. Billing amount per year plus an additional $25 per seat. Something like that. Okay. Let's see how this shows up. Oop, it didn't put the $sign, so let's do that. Um, and just want that to be the same as the other. Okay, cool. You also can edit this through code if you want, you know, but you want to get it kind of close up. Some combination of description and everything. So this is going to cost $50 per year plus an additional $25 per seat. And then you say the number of seats. I put the limit back down to 1, you know, but so this has to be a number between 1 and 10. And let me choose 5 seats. And then I'll check out. And we'll see how this works. The 5 seats should be 25 times 5 and 125 plus 50. It should be $175. Fingers crossed. Oh, all required fields. Oops. April parent 1. Cool. So again, I have 5 uses. It charged me $125 or $175. That's what we thought. I think we do have a code gist that like adds some JavaScript to the checkout page and kind of like we'll update that cost as you go. Or like our team can help you do that. It is like confusing because you can see like how this is like a little, like I said about being fragile. If you change one thing about it, like your hard coded cost over here, if your seats now cost, $50 instead of 25, you have to, update code. One thing to note about the seats is the prorating. So prorating is already a challenge. Prorating when you're adding or removing seats is extra challenging. And we haven't figured it out. So what we often recommend is that there's kind of a, if you want to add seats mid, if people want to change this in the middle of their plan, that you add some kind of note into your membership level description on your pricing page saying like contact us to get like a custom discount code to change seats mid plan. Yeah, I want to go to 6 because like you'll notice like if I go from I'm paying per year and I want to add 2 seats and I go to 7, it's going to charge me $50 plus 7 times 25. Like it doesn't. And our prorating plugin, I'm pretty sure this is all coded to say like, hey, something custom is going on. Don't try to prorate it, or if it does interfere with this, it kind of, it's going to mess up. So prorating is a thing that also needs to be figured out before we kind of build this into a, and it exactly how you do it will depend on the nature of like how you're selling seats. What else I want to show? I wanted to show, someone had a question here.
Say we do have some questions in the comments.
If a parent cancels or expires, can the child continue? Are you talking to me and my headphones aren't on? Sorry.
Those darn headphones. I was saying we do have some questions in the comments, but then you started to read it, so
yeah,
okay. Self-sufficient.
Yeah. So if the parent cancels, there is code in the plugin. So when the parent cancels, all the child accounts lose their membership as well. And it even remembers like if the parent renews later, like all the child accounts get their level back. And that can get confused. Like if your child accounts are like in the interim, like buying their own membership level because they were frustrated or something, like then they're off on their own. It doesn't kind of follow up. One thing I wanted to demo is kind of like multiple sets of this. So you could imagine, this is level 6, the parent level, and then we build one for the corporate level that we made, which is level 8. And we say, hey, if you're level 8.
That was John's question.
Okay, yeah. So you can set up multiple of these. So your main level ID is 8. That's just to make the code easy for us. And then sponsored level ID can be an array. So you can say like, hey, they can sign up for, the beginner or the course or, any one. Actually, it's any one of these. This gets complicated too if you're doing multiple memberships per user. But the discount code is going to work for any one of these at a time. So beginner, like let's say we want level 1.
Adding this and multiple memberships per user would be like a whole nother live stream.
Yeah, it's confusing. Yeah, so let's do 1 and 7. So you could say like you could have level 1 or 7. And then I don't know what this is. If this one this is corporate, so it just gives you like a whole bunch of seats, right? Like they paid us offline. And these will kind of live alongside each other with different settings. Yeah, can they set the email at checkout? So yeah, let me show you something like that. Yeah, that is a setting. So if you look here, and again, I said this plugin kind of became like a collection of like hacks and features as people requested things over time, and you guys are kind of asking things in a similar order. So maybe I'll scan through these and I'll demo some of them. So so this is kind of interesting. Like if you want to put the code in the confirmation email, I feel like that should usually be on by default, but that is just saying the same stuff that shows up on the confirmation page, put it in the email. I guess that's a setting. Or maybe you don't want it. I feel like we probably do that by default. It doesn't say what the default is. We could take that note. Let's find out what the default is and put it there. It's some other settings. So, my plans were like, the one plan was $50 per year. And it's like, is your seat cost, should it be added to the initial payment or the billing payment? By default, it's added to both. So my level is technically $50 now, $50 per year. So you could imagine a scenario where like the seats, like one of our customers literally seat meant they get a t-shirt. So it was like, I don't really care what they pay over the summer, but I have to buy a t-shirt for everyone. So every t-shirt is $25. So it was like, oh, the seats told me how many t-shirts to buy them. It was a one-time cost. So you would say like, hey, if you set any one of these, it only applies the payment or the $25 seat cost to the initial payment. If you want both, the default is both. But then if you want one or the other, you can set them both. To true, or if you set them both to false, nothing happens. But if you set one or the other to false, it's kind of like if you want more control over that. The seat cost is how many dollars in the currency chosen to use. The seat cost text, I guess you can override what it says there. So, if you want to, I think that's just another way to have more control over like in the checkout, when you're entering seats at checkout, like what it says down here. And then we had max seats, men's seats, and then discount code. Oh, okay. So here, this gets like really confusing. There's an example here. I don't think I'll demo it, but I think if you get this will make sense. So by default, if you're at checkout and it sees a discount code, it circumvents the sponsored members code and it doesn't activate. So if if there was a discount code for your corporate account and you're on the corporate account checkout and you say like, you're using a discount code for this, all the sponsored member stuff kind of like it doesn't want to it doesn't know how to apply the logic of seats in the context of your discount code. So if you do want to have discount codes on your levels and sponsor members at the same time, you have to use code that's kind of like this. And so you'll see like, hey, my level 1, it sponsors level 2, and then here's an array of discount codes. Or I'm talking about something totally different, actually. Okay, this actually is, if you want to override, okay, sorry, forget what I was saying. I think it's still true that discount codes don't work well with sponsored members. So if you want to discount for that level at checkout, it's going to get confusing how it applies seats. You could try it out, but it's like, you can't put a discount for your seat cost without clever code. That's not what this code is. This code is to override the details of the discount code that gets made for the sponsoring account. So yeah, as I said, when the parent account checks out, it creates that discount code that they can share with the child accounts. And by default, it's free. So it just sets the level to 0 and it has no expiration date. And so it links it to the parent account. So when the parent account expires, the child account expires. If the parent account's active, the child account's active. But this is, you're getting a little clever where like you get 2 seats, but it's only a discount, or you get 2 seats, but those seats expire earlier than the main account does. You can kind of override the settings of that discount account. So that's kind of another advanced example that hasn't been asked yet in the chat, so I'm not going to demo it. Oh, this is a parameter we want though. It was like discount code required. So I think you'll notice like when I mentioned when I set up the child account, it's free. So if someone just went to that page, they could just sign up for free. And if I hide the level, it's not really hidden too well. If I set it that people can't sign up, the sponsored account people can't sign up either. So what you want to do is in your snippet, you want to say discount code required equals true. And let's make that not the case for this. You don't want it for this level. Because this guy is the level 1, people are paying for level 1. So it's usually $10 per month, but they get it for free. So you don't want to require a discount code to check out for level 1, but you do want to require a discount code to check out for level 7. So that's what this does. Whatever the sponsored account levels can't be checked out unless they're using, one of those codes. So you could take my word for it, or I could try to demo it really quick. Where
We have about 10 minutes left, and there are some more questions too.
yeah, so take my word for it. That's what that does. Oh, let me show the sponsor accounts at checkout. So, and then there's some settings here that kind of explains it, right? So, if you, I forget what it shows by default, but you can collect name, username, email, and password. And I don't think it sends a confirmation email. So I think you said like also send the children a confirmation email. I may or may not be correct on that, but I think it doesn't send an email. Like you expect a parent to send their own email afterwards. But if you say this, sponsored accounts at checkout true, what it's going to do is, and did Sensible Senko ever show up? Because I'll talk really quick
No.
through that other solution.
No, they did not show up. They usually do.
That'll be a teaser for a different open office hours. But anyway, okay. So now when I go to checkout, let me refresh. It says, how many seats do you want? And you see I have one chosen, and it's asking for some information. And if I say 4, it adds this information. So now you can fill out username, email, password for these 4 children at checkout. And then, I don't feel like checking out with all this information, but you take my word for it. It then creates all those other 3 or 4 accounts. And from the notes here, so if you said, oh, no, like they don't need a username, it's like you could say hide username and it'll just show email and password. Or if you say, it'll generate the username based on their email and their name. If you say hide password, it'll generate a password for them. So if you want to simplify a little bit like what this field is like and just collect names, or just, I think you don't even need the email. Which is awkward. Like you can do this. There's like a couple cases like with crypto sites. Sometimes people are like, don't collect email, or like these are children, you don't want to collect email. It will create the account with a username and no email. I think it creates like an email that's a version of the parent's email that should forward to the parent. Like it uses the plus, like I've been doing the test. But you always want to be careful. Like if there's lots of other plugins that get confused and things on the internet, if like you have a user account without an email. Yeah, so that's that. And I think that's pretty much the functionality by default then that's in there. There's much more that you can do with like custom code to kind of select it. Like I said, I'm pretty sure we have a cool gist that automatically updates the level cost text as you're changing your seats, which is really useful because it gets a little lost. And yeah, did I miss any question before I move on to like that other alternative plugin? Let me see what we have.
So there's one about can the parent upload a CSV for the seat credentials?
I'm almost certain they can. I don't remember offhand how to do that, and I don't know if it has that on here. Oh, here we go. Importing members with sponsor parent to child relationship. There's a heading on the documentation here. You can say, oops, import here. I think you probably found the link, but actually I'm not logged in. I can't chat back, but I sent it to Sam. So, that sponsor members documentation import, if you're using our import users from CSV add-on, make sure that it's properly configured first, like your sponsor levels is set up how you want. And then in addition to the columns that they had before, you add these columns. So PMPro SM _ seats, that's the number of seats that the parent account has. And then if you import a column called PMPro SM _ sponsor on the child accounts, use the user ID, email address, or login for the parent account, and it will link that up. So this step is important. You have to have your gist set up already because it needs sponsored members activated and wired up through this custom code snippet to understand, the relationships between the levels. But if you have that and you have PMPro import users from CSV, you just add these 2 columns. So this column, add those columns to your sheet and fill out this column for the parents. and fill out this column for those child accounts, and it'll, as it's importing, it'll link them up.
And then Ryan asks, if a purchaser knows emails of who they are inviting for child accounts, can they send an email automatically like the gift membership plugin?
So they want, they want to send an okay, yeah. Oh, I gotcha. So, it doesn't do that by default. It's not baked into the plugin. That's a really good idea. So I profiled how you can just actually activate the account automatically using that sponsored accounts at checkout. So that's kind of a version, a replacement of that. You can set their email, username, and password, and it'll send them a confirmation email, basically. If you want to do, I like what you're saying is kind of like just help the sponsored member, like give them a text form and then put out an email blast to everyone, that you want to BCC. It doesn't have that functionality. You could imagine a way to program that somehow, like on the confirmation page, or take it. Like I could imagine a custom code just that does that. And if it's a small number of seats, it's okay. You do have to be. It's funny, like transactional email versus like, if people are sending like 100 emails that way, or you don't have a price tag on it, like it's always a little tricky when you're writing custom code around email. It can get abused. But I don't think we have that just. I can ask the team. You could open that up in support and get like the rough bullet points to how to do it. But it would be something like add a field to checkout called like, who do I want to email the child accounts to? And then in your code that hooks into after checkout, check how many seats they have, that they have enough seats for the number of emails that they entered, and then just format and send that email. So I'm pretty sure we don't have that as a feature or as a gist. We can search as a team, but it's fairly straightforward to do as custom code.
Kim White is in my Slack DM, and she's saying we do not have one.
Okay, yeah. So it's pretty straightforward to do. So just add a field to checkout using custom code through our like register helper PM Pro fields. You could even add it through the GUI. So like there's a text field that says emails. I don't have enough time, or I'd kind of demo it. It'd be fun to code, but we're running out of time. And then the custom code would hook into after checkout, make sure they have the right amount of seats, get the emails, and then just generate the emails and send them. You can even check for how the gift code plugin does that to kind of copy how it does it. X additional fields based on max number of seats. Yeah. So let me demo really quick, or at least hand wave through like an alternative to this. It did come up. Sensible Senko asked this, who said they work with schools, and what they basically have is like the teacher or the staff member is paying, and then they have students logging in. But students don't need to be like their own user account. So you imagine like I have a classroom with 40 kids. I don't want them all to like create their own account and have to remember their password. And I spend the first 15 minutes like getting them all to reset their password and distracted by their email and stuff like that. If you're thinking about high school kids or middle school kids even. So we developed for a customer and then built a kind of really minimal plugin that we haven't promoted. So this is on our GitHub and it's public, but I'm almost certain we don't have like a page on our site about this. I could be wrong. There could be a blog post.
I don't think so.
But this is called, and this is, again, like I said, one of our values is like we build something useful, let's put it out there. And then we said that we don't want to like send the email, everyone, this is ready, because everyone's going to have to use it. And you really have to probably be a, developer or have like a little bit more sense of your site to use this code. But you'll see, and actually this is hard coded. So this really is just like an example, like this hasn't been done. But if we get enough attention for this, you could see us like making it more usable. It's a little more straightforward than sponsor members. I'll hand wave really quick through how it works. And maybe I can demo it and make a video. No, if we make a video, people will use it. You see, it has an array structure that's very similar to sponsor members. So you're saying, hey, this is the parent level, and then the student level, 13. And then Instead of seats, it's called number of logins. So this also, it works alongside our WP Bouncer plugin, which you can find on our sites, but it's also on, I don't know if there's a dash in there. There is on WordPress.org. And so the WP Bouncer plugin, what it does is if two people log in with the same account, it kicks the older one out. And so it's like just like a really simple plugin that keeps people from sharing their account. If you really want to stop people from sharing accounts, you should install a two-factor authentication plugin. That's like the true way to keep people from sharing accounts. But this is kind of like a kind of friendly, lightweight way. It keeps track of the last person to log in. And if someone logs in with the same email address or username, it kicks out the earlier person. So if you have students, you kind of want 40 of them to be able to log in. But after 40, then you start kicking people out, because if they only bought like a license for your course for 20 students and they have 40 students logging in at a time, like they're kind of misusing your license. So you just want to restrict the number of people who can log in. So you install WP Bouncer, you install this PM Pro student account site, you set it up like this with the limit. So like, hey, the 50 or like the 20 student plan is number 16, the 130 student plan is number 6, level 6, and the 50 student plan is level 5. And then what this plugin does is basically it adds some fields to checkout. Let me try to activate this really quick.
While you try to activate that, for those who are still around with us and stuck it out the whole thing, we have a sale going on right now. So you can save 33% on any PM Pro premium plan through May 3rd using the code SPRING23. While Jason loads on.
All right, let me activate this in our show. It adds some fields to checkout, and then it creates just one additional account. So there's the parent account, that's the person who's paying, and then it creates one student account, and then you can share the username and password for that one student account, but it gets limited by WP Bouncer. So again, this is kind of like it's like a specific use case. Okay, and then I need WP Bouncer, huh? So,
does the sale code work for renewals, Jason?
Does the sale code work for renewals? It will. So, if you check out with the sale code, it'll charge you the lower price for the next year, and then it will, charge you full price a year from now. I don't remember. Actually, try it and see if you get a prorated amount. Because what's tricky is if you just bought PM Pro yesterday, like you're gonna pay too early, right? It's gonna like adjust your payment account. So the short answer is, if you want to take advantage of the sale and you bought PM Pro fairly recently, you can email through our contact form, and the customer support people will kind of give you a partial refund for what you paid in addition to the sale. Or if your renewal is coming up, they can give you a discount code just for you that's going to prorate correctly. I forget the backup is always just email the team and they'll handle it for you. But I think if you get the code and try, it might prorate it correctly and just kind of, like you'll get one more year at the lower price. That's one of those things, like I'm pretty sure we have code that does that, but it sometimes like just doesn't work. And I didn't test it for the sale in particular. I have to go. I have a hard stop at 3:10.
You're so excited about this demo.
Yeah.
Well, to wrap it up a little bit, to see if Jason can figure this one out real quick. The next open office hours that we're going to have is going to be May 11th with Kim Coleman and I. And we will be talking about customizing the membership cancellation process, because cancellations are inevitable.
Yeah, that one's huge. Like, I mean, one thing is getting the reason for canceling at checkout. And we found, like, we just put a text box at checkout saying, hey, why are you canceling? And our cancellation rate went down 10%. So I don't know like what the psychological factor is of that. Like that's the only change. Yep. It was like It's like, oh, that's right. You say, hey, why are you canceling? It was like, I was just canceling to get my money back because whatever. Um, so so that's like huge, and we have an add-on that does that. And then there's lots of different use cases around canceling where you like don't want people to cancel for so long, or you know, force them to get more information at when they cancel. We don't want, actually, what that video won't be is kind of like a workflow where people have to jump through 50 hoops to cancel. Like we're not going to help you figure out how to do that. We're not fans of that at all. But what we do feel is there's very sensible things that you can do at cancellation that have the same impact. Where people who weren't, who really honestly shouldn't have canceled, they just were confused, won't cancel. And people who want to cancel can still like one-click cancel. So that'll be a good call.
You have 5 minutes until your hard stop.
Shoot. All right, I'm activating the one plugin, deactivating the other one at the same time. What are you going to do, WordPress? Okay, cool. So I have student accounts activated. And actually, let me look at my code here. Because remember, this plugin is just an example. It's like hard coded, like it's already hard coded. So we want to say, hey, like level 6 and level 8. I'll kind of get rid of this one. The main ID is 6, and then the student ID, child ID is 7, something like that. And let's save this. So yeah, let's try it. I mean, I haven't used this in a while. Compare plans. Oh, this might be wonky because I have like level cost text. So you'll notice like, this message is set, I'm still using that. Let's check out for the corporate account. It costs $1,000 a year. You can get, so many students to log in. I'm setting it up, this is like school account. Okay. And then shoot, it's not working. I think it's supposed to have fields here, or maybe it just automatically sets them. Maybe we got to look at this. Something changed. I think it's supposed to give you like let you choose the username, but maybe it doesn't. It breaks. All right, that was a good demo. I think this is why we didn't release this. I'm gonna look at this code. If people are interested in this, it's not super complicated. I'm sure we could fix it. And we installed this on a couple customer sites. So there's something incompatible with either just my dev site or a newer version of PM Pro. We haven't tested this, but actually, if you look, like here's the code. It'll create a second account called like school-stu for student, and it creates a login for them. And so then you just have one login that you share with all your kids. It also has some stuff that like keeps them from changing passwords. And that might be what's breaking, because WordPress had an update that interacted with passwords quite a bit, kind of between the time we coded this. Yeah, so if you want to create one student account, it gets shared for a bunch of people, but there's a limit on how many people can log in at once. This is like a rough custom plugin that does that we're always looking to see if more people are interested in it, and we should turn it into a more finished product. Cool. Thanks.
That's it for this week. So We'll see you everybody May 11th. And if you want to take part in that sale goes through May 3rd. So go buy some premium plans.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Was someone saying I messed up with my credit card? Maybe that was it.